Hi, Miss Tatum's class. How are you? We are on Chapter 7 of Freddy for Norton Big Box Fort. Later that evening, just as the sun was going down, Freddy and Mr. Chewy went into the backyard. A star twinkled above, then another and another. A full moon shone brightly, all silvery and blue. Crickets chirped. It grew darker. Soon Freddy saw Darla's figure in the glow of the streetlight. "Freddy?" she called out. "I'm here," Freddy replied, "in my backyard." Darla crossed the street and found her way to Freddy's backyard. Here, the big box fort looked like a big, dark, square mountain, faintly aglow by the light of the moon. "Where's Chipper?" Darla asked. "He's not here yet," Freddy replied. No sooner had Freddy said those words than they saw the beam of a flashlight appear. "Where are you guys?" Chipper asked. "Over here," Freddy said. Chipper found his way to Freddy and Darla. He was carrying a book, and he held it under the flashlight beam. "Terrifying stories to read out loud," Freddy said, reading this cover. "This is going to be so much fun," Darla said. "Let's go into the fort." Chipper aimed the flashlight beam at the door of the fort. Freddy pushed the door open. Inside the fort was very, very dark. "I'm glad we have a flashlight," Darla said. "It looks kind of spooky." "There's nothing to be afraid of," Freddy said. "We'll be all by ourselves." Freddy went inside first, followed by Darla, then Chipper, and finally Mr. Chewy. They climbed through several boxes until they were seated in a very dark, small room. The box had 2 windows and cool night air drifting in. "This spot will be perfect," Freddy said, taking a seat in the corner. Chipper sat on one side of him, and Darla sat on the other. Mr. Chewy wandered around a bit, and his claws made a scratching sound on the cardboard. Then we sat down. "I'll start," Chipper said, opening up the book. He began to read. The story was quite scary, and Darla held Freddy's hand. But they weren't afraid because they knew that it was only a story. Still, Darla was glad that Freddy and Chipper were there, and Mr. Chewy too. The cat was sitting next to her, but in the darkness she couldn't see him. But she patted his head and scratched him behind his ears. Or, she thought, that it was Mr. Chewy. After all, it was small and furry, just like Mr. Chewy. Chipper finished reading, and he handed the book to Freddy. "Your turn," he said. Next to Chipper, Mr. Chewy shifted and got to his feet. Darla saw this. She stared, because she was still petting Mr. Chewy with her right hand. She could feel his soft fur beneath her fingers. But that was impossible because Mr. Chewy just moved and was now next to Chipper. And if Mr. Chewy was sitting next to her, what was this? "Chipper," she stammered, pulling her hand away. Shine the little light over here." Chipper shined the light next to Darla. Then he gasped. Freddy gasped. Darla screamed. Sitting next to her wasn't Mr. Chewy. It wasn't even a cat or a small dog. It was a... What do you think it was? It was a skunk. Ooh! Chapter 8. Bye, guys. I miss you so much.